We welcome you and we look forward to having a lot of insights from you with your prolific career so far. And as we do with all of our guests, why don't you take initial 2 minutes and give a context of your journey so far?
Thanks, Rishikesh, for this opportunity. I'm Shalini. Right now, working as a director of global support and operations at Entity Data, and I have over 19 years of experience in SaaS, cloud, and infrastructure leadership. And throughout my career, I have led big teams, currently leading a 100 plus team in APAC. And my leadership and work involves around building and scaling teams, taking care of global support, product support, SaaS support, and driving AI powered automations, predictive analysis, customer experience transformations. My work has delivered multi-million in cost saving, faster resolution times, and measurable improvements in customer satisfaction. What excites me in building support experiences that go beyond problem solving and leveraging data tools, leveraging AI, design thinking, customer voice, and create value and strength, and also building trust. I'm very passionate about mentoring diverse teams, scaling operations, and helping organizations to support as a true differentiator. That's it about me. We can proceed further, Rishikesh.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shalini, for giving a great introduction. Now, to start with, the first question that I have for you is that you have developed and scaled support teams. Would you like to talk about a few challenges that you faced across and how did you kind of overcome that?
Okay. So it depends on what kind of team I'm building. Depends on the geography, depends on the requirements. If I say my previous few experiences where it was a niche technology and global support requiring shifts and very highly technical in nature, we wanted highly experienced technical folks and many of them came from development background, and from being non-tenure to tenure, the time is also very less. So it all depends. And my current setup, if I say it's a team where we mostly hire freshers. So it depends upon the business requirements, what we are trying to support, whom we are trying to support. And depending upon the requirements, business dynamics, we make that decisions and the hiring takes place. And also regarding workforce planning, that how many people we need, what kind of support is required, depends on a lot of things together that goes into bake this experience, and finally a support experience that the customer sees goes into place.
So relating to that, Shalini, there is something on which we would like to take your insights on is scaling cloud support for modern architectures. So if you see ensuring high uptime and fast incident resolution in especially multi-cloud and hybrid cloud environment is very important. Would you like to touch upon a few tools or monitoring frameworks and automation that can handle that without compromising on the SLAs?
Okay. So it all depends what kind of support. As I said, different from outside it looks cloud support, but if you're supporting for a SaaS product, or you're supporting a private cloud, or you're supporting a service engineering team, it all depends what kind of support we are supporting a product. So depending upon the business requirement, it can be a mix of lot of things. The recent development I see is the very highly technical people working in the frontline teams that taking away the requirement of L1 team, which does little non-technical work. And now the first response goes by a very technical folks, and they take care of things. And behind them, we have very high technical SMEs engineering team who support them to deliver that experience, which requires very deep technical expertise, very close to product. So depending upon, as I said again, what kind of work, what kind of support is required, so that the customer has the best of experience with the least of resolution time. So if that makes sense, yeah.
Absolutely. And what are a few tools and technology that you use while you are kind of building this entire support?
There also we have lot of, like in my experience, we have used Salesforce, then we use ServiceNow. Then there are other tools like Genesis and whatnot, which comes into picture. Even Zoom is taken care of, used in many of the situations. So depends on what kind of requirement is there, and we as teams who are delivering this experience, we also evaluate certain tools to decide what finally goes in delivering that experience and helping also behind the picture, there are various applications which is using cutting edge AI technologies and whatnot, which helps our teams to leverage deep technical resources like KBE articles, which can be which comes as a prompt to the analysts or the engineers, which can help them deliver the best experience with because there's so much of thing, right? Not every individual can, even though they're technical, the focus is to do the right kind of work and let these tools come into picture and help our folks to provide the best of solutions and answers.
Yes, this prompt tool is kind of very, has become very prominent, especially for support and sales team as such. Like, if you talk about support team, as you rightly mentioned, is that there is something which can prompt and which can basically help them answer to the queries of the customers. Would you like to throw a bit of light on this, like how how easy to integrate this tool, with the system? What are the various features that are helpful for the organization?
A very nice question, Prashikesh. So, in my experience, I have worked with tools where it is integrated, and these tools have been developed by some organizations for their use, and it is a very personalized experience. They have been designed and built looking at what a particular team's needs for their support. At places, I've also seen various other SaaS application integrated to our ticket handling tools. Use cases, various experiences. However, what happens in these tools is like depending upon the kind of cases coming, and many these are very bigger teams spread across geographies and shifts. So many a times a known problem could have been there from the customers, and there might be already when the releases come, there might be some solutions provided by engineering team as known problems. So when a problem comes and the analysts are these tools help us to pick those known verbatims and the verbs and give the prompts to our support engineers that this is something known in the background in a history, and please go ahead and use this article or this old case and leverage these things provided. Please go ahead and so they have everything provided to them together so that they have the best experience for themselves so that they can provide the best answers and support to the customers.
This is superb. And you also touched upon the ticketing system. Can you tell me, Swati, since you have been, Shalini, you have been into this space for such a long time, is that how does this new technology is helping the entire ticketing system, kind of optimize the efficiency and all? So the next thing is that since you actually touched upon the ticketing system, and
Yeah.
ticketing system is so very important for any support team. So you must have seen technology evolve over a period of time, especially to handle tickets and to handle resolution as well. So what are the new technologies that's coming up in this space, especially with the coming of AI? How these ticketing tools have evolved?
They've evolved a lot, Rishikesh. As I said, right, inside those ticketing tools, we are getting those features and provisions like I have used in the past, Salesforce Omni, and right now I'm using Gsnow. And these platforms are providing custom experiences depending upon what a particular team needs. And we have experts within our these own organizations who knows these technologies and platform and how to create new objects and experiences around them. And so I'm just saying, like, internally when support is being provided, there are a lot of things that come into picture, like SLOs or internal SLAs, and as I said, prompts, and maybe provision to create case summary or, merge lot of tickets or maybe create multiple tickets from the same ticket. You can go on and maybe queue management or maybe a feature to assign cases to the employees, analysts working on the cases. And another scenario can be reviewing the cases through managers to understand how the case was. And also, there are things coming up like having sentiments in the case, employees, customer sentiments in the cases. And there are also roles in the support org, like, who manages the queue and the count of the cases coming and prioritize, deprioritize, do shift handover. There are n number of things that goes in the background to provide a simple solution to the customer, right? I mean, I have been into the support org all throughout my career and I have seen this evolving so much. And if you say this now, it's a one-stop portal now. You need not go to various other pages and, spend time, which is prone to error and, takes more time. One-stop shop where you go and do everything in one go. So that's a great thing. In fact, I have seen places where call, chat, and case handling on the it goes on the it happens everything together. In fact, you can do look at the entire shift, how it went, the escalations also. Everything is all together in one place, one stop shop, I would say.
And there are also automations for quality audit now. Like earlier
Yeah.
it used to happen manually. Now it's very much automated.
Yeah. So there are again, if I could name, there's a application called Support Logic, and inside also all these tools in Salesforce and ServiceNow, they are building their own things. Many companies are building their own case and review tools within these platforms. So lot is happening behind the scenes.
Yes, got it. Now, the next thing is basically related to predictive and proactive support. You actually, in the beginning, talked about predictive analytics, especially in the support function. Could you talk us a few use cases how predictive analytics helps you in managing the support function?
Yeah. If I say predictive analysis, it also happens. Like if I go a step behind, prediction will happen only when you have historical data. And with this historical data, we can understand that, what it looks like in the future and how can we predict the coming quarter or the coming financial year, and required actions can be taken, which will help in improving the whole support experience, be it workforce planning or budget or how the support will be provided, how the shift will be taken care of, and whatnot. So, and also what better can we do? What are the gaps? Is it a skill gap, or is it the kind of way we are replying to the customer that is a problem if escalation is broken? So, all this data together that has happened in the past can help us create those information or data points to create a future. So, that goes in predictive analysis to create a better support experience. And every quarter, every year, all the support dogs have been working with goes through this exercise where we do predictive analysis.
Got it. And also, since you mentioned about Shalini, is that, a lot of the people that you hire are kind of freshers.
Mhm.
So, what are the different ways in which you train them? You make, kind of.
Not all the family, like as I said, right, couple of organizations I have worked with where we hire very technical folks. In fact, tenured people coming from development background as well. Depends, because it was a very niche technology. However, like yeah, many teams I have worked with, we hire freshers, and from hiring them and from being non-tenured to tenured, taking them through non-technical training, behavioral training, accent training, how to talk to a customer, understand what customer centricity is, how to approach the customer with empathy, how to handle situations or cases where they're not aware what to do next. It goes a lot. A lot goes in the entire process, from bringing and putting them on production, letting them handle a customer case or a call or maybe a chat as well. And yeah, it's a whole lot of process. But surprisingly, our workforce has those kind of people, and they are so adaptable and bright that work gets done. And we are doing it since so long. Yeah.
Yes. Do you use any kind of, technology to train them like AR, VR and all those things? Like,
Yeah. Lot goes in the background. There are so many tried and tested method in the background, but what I have seen is that personal interaction with the trainers, they're getting help from their senior employees already doing that job. I think all these comes later, but a personal interaction and having that thing, that shadowing, reverse shadowing, and a
yes.
proper training goes long way.
Absolutely. And this kind of a function also kind of goes to a lot of attrition. Like the
Yeah.
percentage attrition is pretty high.
Hmm.
So that is where also predictive analytics is used in order to predict.
Yeah, in fact, very good question, Rishikesh. This is something I have been working and dealing with a long time. And all the organizations know this problem. There's something called skill arbitrage, which means that organizations really want to retain these people because a lot has gone to train these people, this workforce, and they know a lot of support processes, which is very unique to a company. And a very good strategy to handle such kind of situation is keep investing in the training and provide opportunities to these people to get better in the or internal job opportunities, and give them the opportunity and promote them to move to different teams within the organization. And because you have invested, of course it's a double edged sword. They might leave as well or they might stay, and you can't really stop that, because especially in India, it doesn't want to, maybe look at. And there's nothing wrong in that. You go outside, learn different things, and many times people come back as well. And it works both. It's a win-win situation. You provide the opportunities to people to move to different teams, and on the same hand, if it works because we are understand, right? It's skill arbitrage. And but having said that, new fresh talent coming with different new experiences also help. I think it's an ongoing process, and it will be remaining constant. I would say it will remain there.
Now, the next thing is about the cost actually, Shalini, is that if we talk about any support function, so you have seen multiple support function across organizations. What is the most primary cost over there? Maybe primary, secondary, and tertiary. Three cost, if we can discuss.
Cost per se, Rishikesh,
Manpower will be the first one, I think.
mostly the support organizations are cost centers.
Yes.
They're cost centers. And in my awareness, wherever I have worked, like in some organizations, the customers pay for the kind of support they need, like
Yes.
premium support and different levels of support. And so that takes care of this kind of cost that is involved with this kind of teams. However, cost is baked in the delivery of a particular experience to the customer, and it goes as a bundle or a package to the customer. So we really can't differentiate. However, having said that, a lot goes in the cost and internally. So there are different layers in the support: L1, L2, L3. And lower the level of the cases where they're being solved, lower is the cost. So since ages, one very big thing or a very important thing which people have been doing leadership really wants is to shift left. So continue to do shift left of the cases so that the most of the cases, in fact, the aim is to do around 80% of case resolution at L1. So the lower the level of support, lesser is the cost. And because it being cost center, it helps the organization and the team as well. So behind doing this L1, suppose a target of 70% or 80% cases being resolved at L1. Lot goes in like, training these teams, those provide those KB articles, and measuring and again and checking that what more can be done so that the cases stay with the L1. This is one factor. And also, as we talked about that, and why L1 is cheaper, because we are hiring fresh graduates.
Yes.
Where the cost is again less, right? This another goes. And again, the infrastructure part, right? Like what kind of infrastructure we are using to make these people sit and do the work. And apart from infrastructure, not only brick and mortar, we are talking about other infrastructure like headset or laptop and other software that goes in behind making this function work.
And what we have seen is that most of the clients for which the support function works, they are US clients or they are Indian clients.
No. It's a mix. Mostly, most of the support functions are 24/7. We work on weekends. We work on holidays also. But mostly US clients, but Indian clients are also there. And in fact, the clients who are US clients, maybe they have a base in India. And maybe the business is in US, but we are interacting with somebody in India. And 24/7 is a must because it takes care of a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I will slightly, switch towards your personal journey so far, Shalini, is that I saw that you also took a career break and then you came back, into the job. How tough it was, or it was like kind of a natural transition?
No, so yeah, there's a story behind that. So I had this opportunity which made me move cities, and then I took that opportunity because that was important at that point of time. And then I have to, and not all career decisions are just for making those ambitious career moves. It's also because you have to take care of a lot of other things at your personal end. So yeah, and I also wanted to step back and take some pause and think what is next for me. And I have to change cities, so that is why this break was very much needed. Yeah, it was not easy. The market is not easy right now. It was tough. However, leverage my network. I make use of places like LinkedIn and my brand on the social network, which helps me get those opportunities. And I think me being my authentic self, knowing the work that happens on the ground, and me knowing and doing and delivering what it takes to deliver a support function gets me those kind of opportunities. So yeah, no complaints. Yeah.
And now, in this last part of the podcast, we'll try to touch upon, how important is data security when it comes to support function, and how do you take care of that? Do you want to talk about any other use case, Shalini, whatever technology, any use case which comes to your mind? where technology helped you?
Yeah, there are many, Rishikesh, where technology helped me. If I would like to say, one of the use case very early on when AI was picking up, I thought, at that time it was very new, I think, and I was exploring AI myself, and I brainstormed. I was thinking a lot. I was talking to a lot of people to understand what more can be done in support function, because still many of the organizations are very hesitant about using AI because what kind of breaches or data can be leaked through this kind of things. But I managed to work with a couple of very bright people, and one very, I think I feel really good about it, and I feel like there's a legacy behind me which I left when I really proposed this solution where AI could be used to summarize the cases when shift handover happens. It's a very small use case. Not everybody will understand what is big about it, but certainly it's close to my heart because when shift handover happens, it's very important for that shift handover to have a very crisp and concise case summary so that the next engineers who take the cases really know what it takes to bring traction on a case when the customer replies or something which is a priority or escalation happens. What can be done in those scenarios? So this was one use case where I worked and we delivered. And there are a lot. Again, there were things like skill metrics, for example, or case sentiments. Some in-house solutions using AI was being developed. And as I said, right, these tools like Salesforce, Omni, or ServiceNow, they have provision that we can develop our own custom objects on them. So I have been very excited and enthusiastic about finding those situations where we can leverage our in-house teams to develop those objects and solutions, like having those notifications when it's time to reply to the customer or something is nearing the breach of the SLA and whatnot. So everything together, I'm always in lookout of what can be done to fix certain problems. And this is our job as a leader in support org. I think this is my job to fix problems here and there, and that goes together to provide a wonderful customer experience.
Thank you so much, Shalini. I think this was very insightful, and I think you did it very nice. Like, you have explained everything in such a layman term that our audience, especially people who are belonging to the support, leaderships and all, they can get a lot of clues from your experience, from your insights. And we again thank you for joining us on a podcast with Doddle. We will be in touch.